Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙦 Iyer. Is the CCP, that is the PLA, beginning to stoke separatism, embers, whatever you want to call it, in the Northeast again? There was a period of tranquility, growth, peace, but looks like it's about to get shattered one more time. And we have our Northeast expert. He has dealt with the Northeast for several years as part of the Ministry of Home Affairs, Sri RVS Mani. Mr. Mani, namaskaram and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Thank you. Namaskaram. Thank you very much.
Mani sir, see, yesterday PGurus published a story about Northeast, concerns about what is happening in Northeast again. Now, we had talked about Northeast. I don't know if you remember, sir, we had talked about how bamboo can be used, for example, to even make a cricket bat.
And perfectly right. Perfectly right.
So, and we've also talked about the number of cottage industries and how, at least now, some infrastructure development can be seen. I think this we did about 2 years ago or something like that.
You are
now
right.
We are seeing that separatism is becoming again, raising its ugly head here. So what do you think is changing now? Now with Xi Jinping back in power, he has vanquished at least one faction inside the CCP. How do you think things are going to be? Should India be concerned about another front? You have Pakistan front, you have the line of actual control, and this is Northeast, where there's an international border. Should India be concerned here also?
See, I will tell you, I'll take you to the history of Northeast. See, 2014 onward, first certain separatist groups were chased into Myanmar. We crossed the border, showed what our muscle could be in 2015, and thereafter, it was followed up beautifully by addressing the issue of disaffection by the then Minister of State for Homes, who was from Northeast, Mr. Kiran Rijiju. Then rapid infrastructure, by virtue of which another minister was there, and addressing certain issues of livelihood, under which even the bamboo and other things, several things we had spoken about had come. In Tripura, there is a bamboo, Agartala, there is a bamboo development and product development center and all under the Ministry of Textiles, cottage industries, a handicraft side. And there are several other design and development center or something like that. I'm not recollecting that. I was one of the governing council members there. So having said that, a lot of things had taken place, even the green silk, eri silk or muga silk and the silk reeling, everything. Smriti Irani personally had done a lot of good work during those days in the Ministry of Textiles. And as a consequence to that, there was a period of tranquility from 2015 to 2018. Indeed, no doubt there was like that. But tranquility was really there, and apart from that, there are several issues which triggered the existing status quo of tranquility, in the sense that first the CAA, let me make it very clear, no government should take credit for any NRC in Assam. NRC in Assam was a part of the Assam Accord of 1986 between Rajiv Gandhi and the All Assam Students Union, which was never put on the table. Everybody had forgotten about it. The very theme of Assam agitation, which plagued the state of Assam for almost 7 years, was almost forgotten, because it was all about illegal immigrations and Bengali Muslims crossing over from Sylhet to this Kachar district and all that. But what Bhuyan couple, Pramati Bhuyan and I don't know a couple, they moved the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court monitored criteria was set up, and the NRC was introduced in state of Assam only. So if anybody wants to take credit or play politics on NRC, it's a total lie. It is only the Supreme Court monitored and Supreme Court criteria NRC which happened in Assam. But the political opportunists, those who are looking for opportunities, they triggered a first level of disaffection immediately after NRC was introduced. I know because not only my sources have told, a very leading journalist called 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙪𝙥𝙥 on News 6 channel, in fact, seconded my information in a particular debate long time back. In fact, News 6 at least is one channel which is not rabble rousing. It's a very fact-based channel, and that is not very popular as the reason. Having said that, they had done that. I was also there in the debate when I told it. She seconded me, saying that yes, NRC is the reason for the disaffection, recent disaffection. That is one part of the story. The livelihood issues, especially in Manipur, had been addressed. But of late, so much have done this because there has been a crackdown on illegal madrasas. There has been illegal madrasas not by the Indian local Assami Muslim community, but by the infiltrators who have crossed illegally into the country and setting up madrasas, which even the local Muslims were not aware of. There has been a crackdown on illegal Muslim museums, which have again could not have been set up without any such backing from outside. It is not today. Even 30 years back, the Indian insurgent groups had clean shelter in the Bangladesh, funding through Pakistan ISI. Funds were flowing through the Chinese route also. Chinese also had, because Chinese at that time had a very limited purpose of economic hegemony in the region. Alipurdwar was the center of smuggling of all Chinese goods. Everything could be brought. The Siliguri, Jalpaiguri area, and from they were catering to a huge market in Northeast. That was the limited purpose, I believe. It could have been a larger design, we do not know. So, NAC also did not attend to it. In fact, we have had a conversation on this about how the NAC had killed the small and micro enterprises in the country around 2 years back. And by their policy, hackneyed policy or mischievous policy interventions or oversight over the respective ministries. These were all the facts. Otherwise, we had brought it to a level of tranquility. But the recent dialogue conversation we have shared today is quite disturbing, because indeed many boys, innocent trespassers, have been reported to have been kidnapped in China. Innocent trespassers from the Arunachal Pradesh, especially when the snowfall sets in. That is number one. That's the cause of concern. We have reported only few cases. There may be much more. And this is one of the ways of recruitment even in the Indo-Pak border, especially in the Punjab-Khalistani area. In fact, recently one case was reported that one out of the 14 or 15 people, one fellow got really incarcerated in the Pakistani jail and returned home. Recently a case was reported, I was reading somewhere. So same pattern it is showing, the footprints are there. And repeated recruitment by the PLA army, Manipur, PLAM, which is a proscribed organization under UAPA. There are other organizations which are working on it. And another mischief which is very, very, very patently happening is our interstate border within the country in Northeast. The Northeast have about issues of boundaries between the state. There are mechanisms for this, but the amount of violence which was seen last year on a dispute, on an engineered dispute by vested interest, was ultimately it was resolved by the intervention of the Honorable Home Minister, no doubt. But it was also one of the signs of something brewing in the Northeast, some invisible hand working in the Northeast, whether it is the PLA or whether it is the ISI or it is the combination of both. Because now it is no more a two-front war, it is a three-front war. Let us appreciate this. Northeast is still vulnerable. Let us not have a sense of calm and complacency over that. Having developed it, you have done the good work, there is no doubt about it. But you have to be continuously running fast to stay in the same place in terms of Northeast is concerned. I have not just dealt with Northeast now, even from 94 to 97 also. A stint in my career, I have dealt with Northeast. The population is extremely lovely set of people. They trust you beyond their lives. But the question is, I have interacted with Northeast officers posted there, the Northeast tribal officers. I know, in fact, the 15 tribes in Nagaland. And another very interesting thing, very, very important factor. A former IB officer, an IPS officer of very high caliber and reputation, prominence and their success. A Naga accord which was lingering on for almost 25 years, he sorted it out in 2 years in his tenure as governor of Nagaland and chief negotiator. Remove him and post him as Tamil Nadu governor, and immediately all these mischievous fellows have started raising their heads. This is a very, very vital
fact. You're
fact.
talking about Mr. R.N. Ravi. You're talking about Mr. R.N. Ravi.
Yeah. Absolutely. See, he is doing a wonderful job in Tamil Nadu, but Nagaland, Northeast is now getting a hit. Because he had done wonderful work and he had personal rapport with the separatists or other insurgent groups and all that, he would bring it out. This is one very important factor. I appreciate that he is doing wonderful work in Tamil Nadu. In fact, Coimbatore blast would not have come out had it not been for this honorable governor. But being an IPS officer, being an IB person, certainly he could smell the mischief of whatever 𝙒𝙬𝙤𝙤𝙤, which they have called it now, 𝙤𝙬𝙤𝙤 or whatever it is. But that is one part of the story. Now, if you try to cover one place, because recent successes in Jammu and Kashmir, you are almost killing a terrorist, and also control over the radicalization of overground workers. Now, Pakistan and the PLA have, and a moderate success in the Galwan area in 2020. Now they have shifted their focus to Northeast, which is always vulnerable. To creating a disaffection. There are several factors for this. One is the proximity to China. We do not know. There is a particular party president who had, when he went to watch the Beijing Olympics, had signed a MOU with International Liaison Department of CCP. International Liaison Department is nothing but the R&AW of China. External Intelligence Agency. There is nothing there. It's all shrouded in iron curtain, but the question is, there is no mystery about it. Nobody has the contents of this MOU, although it's the fact that the then ambassador of Indian ambassador to Beijing had also present in the function A. When it was not a government function, why the ambassador should have been present? Because it was simply an enterprise to political enterprise dialogue. We do not know. Number two, if she was present in the gap, why no copies have been retained? And number three, if that is, how come that ultimately she was rewarded as a foreign secretary, the number one foreign diplomat of the country, immediately after, in the aftermath? These are all factors. These are all factors which begs for an answer. So it is not just Northeast, it's the overall thing. Also, we are mollycoddling with Bangladesh far too much. It is a fact that they are pushing unwanted infiltrators right from both sides, east and western part of their country. In the western borders, that is the West Bengal, they are well received. The 𝗒𝙗𝙗𝙗 is a group, a terror group, which is also has found its presence. But in eastern part of the country, especially in Silchar and other places where this Bangladeshi madrasas, illegal Bangladeshi madrasas were found, unregistered, operating and radicalizing these children in the rural areas. That is a part of the mischief. That is a part of the 𝙒𝙖𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 Bangladesh, BD, Hujai, Harkatul 𝙒𝙖𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 BD, we call it. Do we not? I am sure the intelligence agencies must be aware of it, and the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam rightly demolished it, although there is a lot of disgruntlement which is being shown and pampered by the vested interest, including the AIUDF, Assam, that whatever that Badruddin Ajmal party. Now the question comes, see, Northeast was in a very bad shape. Kokrajhar riot happened because of the illegal Bangladeshi immigrants. And 𝙒𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤, 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙤, and all these things happened, and that's the reason the Bodoland people counter-attacked them, and the Kokrajhar riots happened. This I am privy to it, the entire information. Besides that, in Assam alone, in 2012, the then Chief Election Commissioner had said that 14 districts of Assam have become Muslim-dominated, which is very unusual. So the demographic issues are also plaguing the Northeast. That also, to some extent, within whatever is domain, the Assam Chief Minister is attacking. Please.
Mr. Mani, the NRC implementation in Assam, one of the things that happened was once this started, happening on the ground, there were lots of complaints that Bengali Hindus are also being discriminated. I'm just basically saying what I read, sir. I could be wrong. The second bigger problem was that 5 illegal Bangladeshis had to be deported back to Bangladesh. 5. And when the government tried to push them back send them back to Bangladesh, this is a procedure, right? You go to the border and say, these are illegal, you're transferring, these are your citizens. 10,000 people showed up to prevent this from happening. And the army had to be called in. Yes, from Indian side.
From Indian side.
Yeah, and army had to be called in. Sir, where did these 10,000 people come from? What about their own citizenship? Has the government done some research into this? Because that is a no-go, Maniji. I mean, if somebody becomes a legal citizen of India using the legal process, that is fine. But where did these 10,000 people come from? And what happened of that case? I have no idea. If you have any update, please let us know.
See, that happened is very well known to me. Where did these 10,000 people came? We also know that the government had to call in the forces and everything. However, see, we are all living in a myth. Almost 12% of the population, the Bangladeshis and the Rohingya illegally, and some illegally naturalized Indian citizens. I am saying illegally naturalized Indian citizens, mark my words. Because for political reasons, many of the Bangladeshi and Rohingyas have been naturalized by chief ministers like Mehbooba Mufti in Kashmir. They have been settled. There are many in other places also, in many other states. The figures are always underreported, including places like Jodhpur and Jaisalmer, where it is extremely dangerous being a border area. And there the stranglehold is increasing, and we have to be very careful about it. I have one more piece of information. You can go, and anybody can go to Sriganganagar or Barmer or Barotra, everywhere in the border areas. Pakistani marked arms will be available, and you will be issued license also. I am not talking, I don't talk, it is a very verified fact. If you want, I can give you to the Dalals and all who will arrange it. That's a secondary issue. These things are happening. So what are we talking? See, on the 4th July 2004, there is an answer to a question saying that there are 20 lakhs illegal Bangladeshis. The government did not deny the figure. They only said the problem of illegal migration from Bangladesh is being attended to a comprehensive policy of this. 4th July 2004. At that time, the figure was around 1 crore. But now, how much it would have swelled, we do not know. Everybody, both through natural procreation as well as through additional migrations. And how the states help. How the state governments help is a bigger problem. Till Hemanta Biswal took over the reign, if you recall, even the Congress Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi had flagged this issue of illegal migration. You can go back and check the record that even a Congress Chief Minister had flagged it as a thing which is plaguing the development of Assam. But he did not act because whatever it went against the grain of his party's policy. And not only that, if you go back in the history, 1967 and all, it is their own party's candidate who went on to become the President of India, is their own party candidate who was from that area, who had authored the entire process of illegal work. He had seeded or authored or initiated the illegal infiltration from East Pakistan, then East Pakistan. So, right from there, it is there. You can find out.
Are you talking about Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad?
Yes. 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 And
so
the irony of
he was one of the presidents of India, and he actually died in office, I think, during the emergency time.
Emergency. He was the person who signed the emergency, who signed the proclamation of emergency. Having said that, and incidentally, very, very interesting thing is, the one more interesting debate which is happening is 𝙒𝙖𝙦𝙤𝙤 in judiciary. His son is an ex-chief minister, chief justice of Jammu and Kashmir High Court. He was acting chief justice in Delhi High Court and later on went to Jammu and Kashmir. He went Jammu and Kashmir High Court, extremely important. So we have many such discomfort causing facts on our palate. So it is not in one way, because Hemanta Biswal, I appreciate he is doing a lot of things which is within his main domain and which will not attract too much of criticism, otherwise they will be clamoring for that. But basically the government has to crack down on their overgrown workers, their urban naxals who are standing. See, the 10,000 people who stood with them. You know the number of NGOs operating in Northeast and the conversion mafias and other things. And conversion is a double-bladed, because either you are on the side of the Mizoram side or the Tripura side, you are on the side of the Mizoram. You could be caught by the Christian missionary. In the Tripura, you could be caught by the Muslims. And the southern part of Assam. It is very dangerous. And intra-state borders in Assam also is being created because of only this. Assam has got a problem with the Manipur state. They will trigger it at the right time. When there is a very strong, whenever there is a strong initiative by Hemanta Biswal, they will simply trigger something important. Now they cannot comply. The local population livelihood issues have been appropriately taken care of. I said not overwhelmingly. The local population, you know how they say, for example, Manipur. In Manipur, there will be a handloom. I have seen it personally. Morning, before going for work, the husband will do some work. Then the women of the house will start working during their leisure time. At 2 o'clock, the child comes from the school and they will also do the weaving work, continue the same weaving. But earlier they were having a problem of this yarn being supplied to them in time. So there will be a time lag. But this 𝙒𝙖𝙦𝙤𝙤, I said specifically, she introduced a system called 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙤, the national, because earlier all the yarn used to be cornered by the power loom sector. She introduced this 𝙒𝙧𝙤𝙤 thing. And thereafter, now when your yarn stock is going to be finished, you can at 4 days back or 5 days notice, if you flag it, The National Handloom Development Corporation will ensure that your dhaga, your yarn is delivered and the weaving continues. So as a consequence, this handloom business is a supplementary income to agricultural income. So to that extent, they are cash rich. Now they are doing very well. These type of initiatives have happened in terms of silk reeling also. Eri silk or Muga silk and also Kachar district, Lower Assam, including the upper Assam, Barak Valley, Golpara area and all. A lot of things have happened. Arunachal, lot of things have happened. Meghalaya, things have happened. But why? Because the livelihood issues are being addressed. But the question again is, mischievous elements are not able to take it. They will create all sorts of, and the urban Naxals are their mouthpieces. I'm very sorry to say, the government has not done any. This is the first time that the Rajiv Gandhi Foundations has been barred from accepting foreign collaboration, foreign contribution under FCRA Act. The two of their Rajiv Gandhi Foundations organizations, NGOs. But they also have a different way of getting the collecting donations. They will find out some special purpose which is already under the FCRA, which is entitled to receive donation. And from there, laterally, it will be donated in Indian rupees. So there are many ways of doing it. And they are also quite active in that area. I do not know. And propaganda war they do. Kokrajar or something like in Nagaland. Nagaland, it was more of a propaganda war that the Kuki Nagas and the 𝙒𝙖𝙦𝙤𝙦 group were fighting each other. And they fought each other for almost 40 years or 50 years. And there was nothing great about it. R.N. Ravi solved it in 2 years. Mr. Padmanabha Iyer continued his position for almost 19-20 years without showing any progress. R.N. Ravi comes as governor, he is appointed the chief negotiator and he does it in 2 years. That means that was not an insurmountable problem. So we should find out people who can attack, who have the confidence of both the groups. It's basically a dispute resolution mechanism. And vested interest. Again, I don't know whether it was by design that he was shifted out of Northeast, because I would have still preferred him. He was an asset to the Northeast. I would have still preferred him, but still they did not. They transferred him. And of course, Tamil Nadu also warrants somebody like R.N. Ravi in the given set of circumstances, and the given of a radicalization and the Waqf property claims which is happening left, right, and center. One part, maybe a particular day may come and the entire Tamil Nadu will be Waqf property. Claimed as Waqf property. So that also,
right? It's arbitrary.
It is not arbitrary. It is not arbitrary. I will tell you the entire history about it. In 2011 or 12, I was the land and development officer, and at that time this issue came up about giving back. This has been discussed. This is now in public domain. 123 parcels of work property which the British India government had acquired into 1911 to 1950. First, Ghulam Vanawati was the Attorney General. He opined that under 48 section of the Lead and Land Acquisition Act, if the compensation has been paid, the acquisition cannot be reopened. So you have to prove that the entire compensation has not been paid. This was not acceptable to a group of officers, including K. Rahman Khan, he then been a minority affairs minister. And so he called some Central Work Council members, judges and all retired judges, who said that no, the land acquired, if it belongs to Waqf, can be recalled by the Waqf any time. There's something like that. They suggested it was sent for a review by, again, Ghulam Vanawati, and some technical issue. He said Waqf has got overwhelming rights over any land acquisition act or something like that, which was the opinion, seconded by confirmed by Ghulam Vanawati and came back, and that is how the cabinet note moved. It was a mischievous opinion, but it happened. The learned law officer had to go back and give this opinion. I do not know how this came up. I was not in India at that time when all these things happened and the cabinet note moved. Of course, and ultimately they notified it. One day before the 2014 general election was to be declared. So from there onward, the message has gone to the entire Waqf that they can claim any land as Waqf land.
So that's what I meant by arbitrary, sir.
It is arbitrary. They can set my head and say this bloody head belongs to Waqf, then I have to give it to them. Or maybe your head, or maybe my house or your house. And that is what is the mischievous opinion, which is the genesis of all this problem. And nobody has upturned that decision of the government file. And mischievously, this is being conveyed to all the Waqf. And this is what the 𝙒𝙗𝙤𝙤 has been fighting. One of the war he is fighting. I don't see any other chief minister fighting like this. Similarly, the Madarsa issue. The Madarsa issue is again he is fighting. Third, the Muslim museum which came up in Assam. See how systematically they are doing it. At the same time, in Manipur, they take our young children to Myanmar and turn them into volunteers. The same pattern in which the Kashmiri youths are taken to POK, Muzaffarabad or Gilgit, Muzaffarabad and other places, and then converted and then sent back to fight the war on behalf of them. What PLA is doing they are taking them to Myanmar. Now it's not very far away. Myanmar also, we do not know what is happening in a place called Tanjal or borders closer to Mizoram, in Mizoram, which is closer to Myanmar. From there, people come here for work. We do not know what is happening there also. That also needs to it's a matter of concern for us. See, there are so many things in Northeast that it will take almost 2 hours for me to complete this session.
Well, I think we have started talking about it, Maniji, and let's keep this going. We'll periodically revisit this. It's not like something happened, but we can see the beginnings of another fomenting of trouble. That's what we wanted to highlight.
The third front of the war has been opened. That is very unfortunate thing. And the basic thing is, the UPA1 had done a lot of good work in the Northeast. I do not know the progress now because 2 years of COVID and other things, the entire thing has shifted. Compulsion, non-compulsion, etc., etc. But Northeast, they had done a lot of problem. Northeast is generally now much more power surplus states, all the 8 states. Lot of employment opportunities. Skill training, skill development has happened. Lot of skill development has happened. So as a consequence, there should be no cause for disaffection among the youth to be falling prey to this, becoming gullible to this recruitment or radicalization process by the invisible hands which are operating in Northeast. We do not know whether it is 𝙒𝙖𝙤𝙤𝙤, we do not know whether it is the ISA friends, we do not know which insurgent groups, because the old insurgent group like the Bodos and all have reformed, they have joined the mainstream, and their requirement was very limited. Autonomous Council has been formed for the Bodos and they are doing very well. Bodo Autonomous BTCA, whatever Territorial Autonomous BTAC are doing wonderful work. In fact, they are doing a lot of development. But the question, and again, Nagaland also, the issue stands, the accord has been signed between the Cookies and the 𝙒𝙖𝙤𝙤𝙤 group. Where is this issue? After all this settlement, now the new formation has started. You see, we have come to a settlement, we have thought, okay, this is a place where now I can speak easily about Northeast. And now these things happen that fresh trouble is being fomented. It is openly clear that it is the PLA and other foreign agencies, or whether it is Islamic agencies, say, let us not be overtly friendly with even Bangladesh. They are fair weather friends, they are your friend only because of to meet their own needs. Whenever there is a requirement, they will see. Otherwise, they are also pushing in the illegal thing. They are also doing the process of liberalism, they call it. Push the population outside the country, if I cannot manage it. And it is a myth that Bangladesh or garment industry is doing very well and all. The quality, there are certain issues about which nobody talks about it. an Indian government, they will talk about child labor, they will talk about bonded labor, etc. But the labor in the Bangladesh garmenting industry is in very bad shape. They work for almost 6 days a week, 12 hours, and stay in the workers' hostel and are allowed to visit the family only 12 hours a week or something like that. There are a lot of issues which needs to be, and you are asking Indian garmenting industry to compete with them, that level of productivity. So they are all under iron fist. So let us be under no compulsion, no illusion that, and ultimately, when push comes to a shove, they come back and come back with your begging bowl like the Pakistan, like the Sri Lankan. Incidentally, all of them are above you in the global hunger industries.
Oh, that's a nonsense study, sir.
We have had a conversation on this, whether that India should continue in the UN system or not. I have my reservations about it. And my unfortunate thing is, we are talking about this on the day, 2 days before, on the eve of the UN conference on counter-terrorism going to be held in India in 29th and 30th. And that will be absolute nonsense. See, I have flagged this earlier also in many places that these people bring in Pakistani from the Secretariat. You know, the entire UN system, what Secretariat has a lot of anti-Indians and a lot of Pakistani. And in UN system, the Secretariat makes a paper, nobody reads it up to the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres or whatever it is. It is hardly vetted. I can vouch for it. I have dealt with UN for 6 years, 5 years, and I have dealt with several visiting UN in delegation in my other parts of my career. A Secretariat makes a mistake or gives a mischievous note about the Indian involvement or about this human rights violation in Kashmir or whatever it is. I can bet on it. No, I don't think anybody reads, or even an FATF. And ultimately, they pulled out Pakistan out of the grey list. Whereas, deservingly, it should be sinking into the blacklist.
Well, we can only do what we can control, and United Nations.
That's the reason I say we can control. Simply threaten to withdraw from the UN system 0.40% of the budget we contribute, and that's quite a wholesome amount. Let's be under no illusion. Many of this 0.40% will have to be distributed among around 140 countries which are below us. They will feel the burden. Threaten to withdraw. Just one statement from External Affairs Minister, and these fellows will fall in favor for at least 6 months. They won't do any mischief. And we do a lot of ECDC program, economic cooperation among development countries, technical cooperation among development countries, with several specialized agencies of UNO, like the ILO, like the UNIDO, like the UNDP, like the UNESCO, and FAO, and all this. All this that also we contribute a heavy amount of things into Africa, into Latin America, and all. ESCAP, ECLAC, all those things. They will be immediately alerted. If this country goes out, it will be Antonio Guterres' pay may be stopped.
I think we can try all this, or my opinion, Mr. Mani, India can become a member of this UN Security Council, permanent member. And there's nothing anybody can do. You can write, shout, whatever you want. It wouldn't matter. I think that's what India's goal should be, in my opinion, sir. And if that happens, then a lot of other things will automatically fall in place.
I feel India can see with the preeminent status today it is happening. Today, after the success of the co-vaccine, after recent successes in the global arena, now we can honestly say UN has become insignificant for us. It is a white elephant which is not doing any purpose. It is only doing anti-India campaign. It is a value judgment of the UN working that we are withdrawing from the UN. One statement, like the Honorable External Affairs Minister gave about the US media recently, a similar statement like this will set the UN system right. And they should do it in India when these people are coming for the counter-terrorism conference.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if that happens or not. Thank you.
Please give a shout out to the Honorable External with through this.
Well, we keep him on his toes all the time, but yes.
No, but the question is now UN counterterrorism conference is happening, so I wanted it to be done.
Well, we'll wait and see how this goes. Mr. Mani, let's take a few questions, sir. Here's the first question. Goblet of Fire wants to know, how can common people from the rest of India help the Northeast? You can buy their products.
Sir, see, they are doing, what type of help can you give? The government itself has sent a lot of things. Disaffection, at least treat them with dignity in many of the places in Delhi itself. Unfortunately, I have many friends from Northeast who feel that they are being discriminated. They are referred to as chinkies. I am very sorry to use the word. And this has been happening for the last 40 years. 94 onwards, I have been dealing with Northeast in some way, in some position or the other. And I have seen a senior officer of the government was called in a restaurant. He was staying in Nagaland House. When he had visited a restaurant, in some person called him a chinky. This is the level. Treat them with dignity. They are very lovely people, lovable people, and they will trust you to an absolute level. Provided, but certain Marwadis and other communities which have done business there have not done so good. So that is one of the reasons.
Another question, sir, from Nagarajan Srinivasan. Mani, sir, do we have an alternative mechanism in case Chicken Neck area, Siliguri corridor is attacked by China? Would Bangladesh provide their territory for the movement of our troops?
Let us be under no illusion that Bangladesh is going to provide anything to you in sort of military support. I always keep telling the example of Jeevan Kumar, whose body was mutilated. He was assistant commandant of BSF and ex-constable. Their bodies were mutilated by Bangladesh rifles and handed over to Indian BSF in Tripura in 2005. And they are still to apologize for that. So that is the reason I always keep on saying Bangladesh is a friend as long as they have their bogey. They need to beg you for something or the other. You can also choke them if that happens by being an upper Riprorian state, choke their supply of this teesta or anything like that. But Indian politicians do not do that. They think their international image is more important than the Indian interest. That is the problem.
And the last question, viewers, we are not taking any more questions. Magnet Ranga wants to know, why doesn't India indulge in such covert war to counter the enemy's actions? Whether it is China or Pakistan, there are sufficient internal controversies that India can utilize.
I would reserve my comments on this. And so let us leave it at that, because this is not the way the governance can function. We need to do positive things. See, many people were, today Ambani, Mukesh, the Reliance is a very big group. But during their growth period, there are many vested interests who were countering him, complaining him, controversies were raised, raids were made, all sorts of things. But I am told that Dhirubhai Ambani used to say, "Hame aage badhna hai." We have to produce, we have to grow. So let us use that. I do not know whether it was right or wrong. It is no value judgment of the entire processes which happened, the entire investigations he faced. But today he is one of the richest man in the world, fifth richest or whatever it is. So we have to take, it is one of the biggest groups in the world. We also have to simply grow, that's all. Don't see, let us attack on a horses for courses basis. Like our present defense minister, who was in 2015 as Honorable Home Minister, said Pali Goli, somebody was beheaded and the DGBSF came to him. He said, "You are the DGBSF, you are supposed to be defending your Jawan, but ensure karna Pali Goli yahan se nahi chalegi." That is our policy, yes. To that extent, I agree with him. But still, I would not trust Bangladesh to give any territory or anything. We need to be very, very reserved about their actions. Don't depend on that. Let us, now Atmanirbharta has come in the defense sector also. A lot of good things are happening. So let us hope that we will be much more capable locally, domestically produced arms and requirements. Lot of things have happened. That's the reason we have very recent successes in the left-wing affected areas. Militarily has been a great success because of availability of much better. To counter the drone attacks also, we are building a lot of capability, and I am sure that they are all signs that we are doing well. And let us concentrate on development.
Development it is. That's what we should be concentrating on, are the final words, essentially the essence of this conversation. Thank you very much, Mr. Mani. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. If you liked our research, if you liked our content, you can always show your appreciation by donating using super thanks button or by typing paypal.me/PGurus. Namaste, sir, and talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.